the stand. Now he runs. He produces a magic print. He pulls out another one. This is incredible. This is ridiculous. This is 15 out of 10 on the incredible meter. What a player. What an entertainer. Give him the medal. Give him the Dally M medal.
Hello, footy fans, and welcome back to the Chip and Chase podcast. Thursday means we're ready for the Thursday night games, ready for round 18 of the NRL season. But before we get into that, of course, that means we have to preview every game and see how we see things taking place this round. Lay you guys in on what we think is going to happen. So let's get right into it, shall we? Starting off with the Eels and the Rabbitohs taking place tonight, 7:50 p.m. Eels in 16th, Rabbitohs in 14th. So clash down the bottom of the table, but both of these sides, there was a lot of hope and expectations heading into this season for both of these sides. So I think both teams will be up for it. I think we'll actually get a decent clash out of this one. A lot of people are backing the Rabbitohs in. I think they're actually favourites on Sportsbet. I think they're heavy favourites, to be honest. Maybe not in the betting market, but from what I've seen everybody tipping, everyone just believes that with nothing to play for, they were always destined to be the better team this year. They can kill it. I think Eels get up for this one. I'm actually tipping them in terms of my tipping competitions. If I had to do a bet saying, 1 to 12 or 13 plus, it's definitely 1 to 12. I'm not the most confident in the Eels winning this one, but I need to go a bit different out there, and I just have a gut feel that the Eels do win this one. It's in Combank Stadium, so it's technically an Eels home game, but as we know, both of these sides are Sydney sides, so you'd assume a lot of supporters will turn out in force for both of their sides here. But I am going to back in the Parramatta Eels to get this one done in a tight affair. A tight affair, but I think it will be a high-scoring affair. Both of these sides aren't the best defensively this year. Just look back to last week with the Eels conceding, 34, 36 points to the Newcastle Knights, who haven't been the best attacking side themselves. So definitely a lot of points in this one. If you were to bet on a total points market, I'd probably be going the overs. I haven't checked what the overs is. Let's have a quick sneak peek right back at that one and see what the overs are on that market, because they'd have to be very, very high for me not to take the overs in the total points market. We're looking at 51.5 total points as the unders and overs. I think that is an absolute steal. You're essentially looking at 26 points each from these sides. God, I reckon it could be a 40-point each game sort of one, this one. So I'd be locking in that. If you were to bet on that, I might look at doing something like that myself. But yeah, Eels 1 to 12 is how I see this one taking place. The Rabbitohs, they do get back with Latrell Mitchell and Cameron Murray, which is nice. Of course, Cameron Murray named on an edge with Keon Kalor-Matangi starting at lock forward. We'll have to wait and see if that is the case, but look, I am just going to back my gut feel in the Eels and hope that their team can step up for it. Maybe they can just get a bit better defensively. We know the attack they have. I think they've got a better forward pack than the Rabbitohs. I think they can do this one, so I'm going to back them in. Moving into the first Friday game, that is the Sharkies taking on the Titans. Sharks in third place, Titans in 15th. Both of these teams coming off losses. No, Titans had the bye last week, my apologies. Titans are technically coming off their massive win over the Warriors, the 66-6 to my knowledge, with the Sharks coming off that close 15-14 loss to the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, which, very gutting loss for the Sharkies. I thought they were well and truly in that game, and the Bulldogs are definitely no pushover, so it's not a game that you think is really disappointing for the Sharkies. I think it's disappointing because they had their chances to win it. Nicho Hynes, if he slots one more goal, they win that game. If he hits his field goal, they win that game. If Braden Trindle hits his field goal, they win that game. They had their opportunities and they let that one slip. I think with all the talk in the media, especially about Nicho Hynes, which, look, for the most part, I think is unwarranted. You talk about not stepping up in big games because he misses field goals and that. Matt Burton missed two. Sure, he nailed the last one, but how does that any different to a Nicho Hynes who missed one and didn't get an opportunity to hit the last? I don't think it's necessarily that. This is still the Dally M player of 2 years ago. He's still only in his third season of an NRL starting halfback. I think a lot of the criticisms are a bit unwarranted, but I think he's going to come out and silence them. I really hope he does come out and silence them because he's one of the best guys in our game, a fantastic player and just one of the real good guys. So I'd love to see him come out and silence those critics and put on a score to the Titans. So I'm definitely tipping the Sharkies here. 13 plus is where I'm going to lean towards, but I hope the Titans do make it a bit closer and get up for this one and make it a 1-12 game. I just don't see them winning. The odds for this one are pretty decent, to be honest. If you do have an inkling for the Titans, they're at $3.10, which isn't actually that bad at all. But at the same time, you could also load up on Sharkies as a 13 plus and be pretty confident in that. So I will definitely be backing in the Sharkies. I just think, across this entire season, they've shown more attack, they've shown more defense, just across the park. There's a reason the Titans are in 15th and the Sharks are in 3rd after all. So Sharkies are where I am backing in this one. Moving into the Broncos and the Panthers, the grand finalists of last year. I'm so excited for this clash. It does take place in Brisbane, so Suncorp Stadium, Broncos home game. Really good stuff for them. They're currently sitting in 10th on the ladder, while the Panthers are in 2nd. So very different to what we saw last year. I do think that the Broncos, with their returning stars of Paddy Carrigan, Payne Haas and Reece Walsh, I think they get up for this one. I'm actually tipping them to win. They're very much underdogs in this one. $2.41 they are paying to the Penrith Panthers, $1.57. And that's fair enough. Broncos have not been with it this season. They're actually on a 4-game losing streak. Well, the Panthers, they've just been consistently pretty darn good the entire season, even in the absence of Nathan Cleary. It's going to be a tough one, but I think if the Broncos are to get their season online, this is the time to do it. Beat the Panthers, knock them over at home. You're only sort of missing Adam Reynolds. Yeah, you're still missing Jordan Ricky and Brendan Piacora. I think Brendan Piacora's out. Maybe I've missed that one. He's still in. No, Brendan Piacora's out. Jack Gosiewski was the other player who got injured last week. And the other one that they're still missing is Katoni Staggs, who was out with personal reasons. But I think that makes it all the more better for a storyline. They can get an upset here. I really believe in them. I'm backing the Broncos in. Definitely 1-12. I'm not going extensive on this one. If they are to win, it's going to be close. The Penrith Panthers, they don't lose by big margins. But I will back the Broncos in for a bit of an upset here. I really like them to kickstart their season here. They really need to if they're to make finals. And it's in Brisbane. This has got to be the time to do it. So I'm backing the Brisbane Broncos in the late Friday clash, which moves us into our Saturday games, our Super Saturday, starting with the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs and the New Zealand Warriors. Bulldogs, they're in 5th place. Warriors down in 13th. This one takes place 3 p.m. Accor Stadium, Sydney. By all markets, the Bulldogs are favourites at about $1.50 odds on Sportsbet. Warriors sitting at about $2.60 at the moment at the time of recording this. Look, fair enough. I think Bulldogs deserve to be favourites, and by all metrics, I should tip them. But I'm going to back my Warriors again. It's coming from a place of bias, but I think if they are to make finals, they need to win these games. We did beat them early in the season. Sure, that was before the Bulldogs really kicked into gear. But I think we can do it. We have to do it. It's these sort of games that we have to come in and win. While the Bulldogs, they might have a little bit of complacency thinking, look, we've been so much better than them all year. We can win this one. At the same time, they're probably looking back to their early round loss to us and thinking, let's get a bit of revenge. I think Bulldogs deserve to be favourites. If I wasn't a Warrior supporter, I'd tip the Bulldogs. In other worlds, in other universes, in other seasons, I would tip the Bulldogs and do my old strat of tipping against my team, because then I win either way. If the Bulldogs get up, hey, at least I got up on tipping. But if the Warriors get up, I go down on the tipping, but my team wins. So that's how I used to bet. But that was before I actually had this. I haven't felt this way about the Warriors for a long time. These last 2 seasons have been a lot of hope for me, so I'm going to back my boys in for an upset. I need to do upsets in my tipping comp at the moment anyway. I'm not going the best, so I need to make some ground up. So I'm going to take the Warriors in this one, 1-12. You know what? Now we'll go 1-12, but very much if they to win, it could be a 13+ game. If they're to win, let's be honest, Bulldogs probably do win, but I'm going to back in my Warriors for an upset there, 1-12. Moving into the second Saturday game, the Wests Tigers taking on the Melbourne Storm, 5:30 p.m. Leichhardt Oval, Sydney. Look, This one's a tough one. This is 17th, so last place on the ladder versus first. It's going to be a very difficult game, even though it's at home. Storm, they are probably going to be without Ryan Pappenhausen and Su'a-Fa'alogo from what I'm hearing. So no fullbacks there. They're still without Nick Meaney, who'd probably be the next man up. No Cameron Munster, no Xavier Coates. There are a few men down. There is a little bit of an upset that you could go for here. At home, go the Tigers. Get it done, boys. But unfortunately, I just don't see that happening. It's just the Storm, they're Craig Bellamy. If it was any other side with the players that they're missing, sure, maybe you could back the Tigers in. I just can't do it against this Melbourne Storm side. I really do hope they do. Look, I do think there is definitely a chance that they can do this. I've got a little bit of an inkling that, look, at home, they get up for this one against a very depleted Melbourne Storm side. Keep in mind, this Storm side has been up for so long. They're due a bit of a form slump and they're due a loss here and there. You know, it could have been against the Raiders. It could have been, you know, that 16-6 game against the Raiders. Could have been a few other opportunities this season, or at least in the last few weeks. But maybe the Tigers can do it. But I'm not bold enough to bet on that or tip on that even. I think I'll be tipping the Storm in. I will be tipping them 1-12 though, not 13+. I just think with the outs that they've got, it might be a lot closer than people really think. But the odds in this one, Tigers $3.10 to win this game, Storm $1.37. So there's a little bit of value in the Tigers if you were to back them, or at least back them with the line. I'll have a quick look at what the line is for this game. If you were to back, it's only an 8.5 line, which I'm not too keen on. But you could back the Tigers with an 8.5 line for $1.90 for the line there. Not my favourite there. I was hoping for a bit better odds, but not the case. But yeah, we'll be back in the Storm in 1-12, but hopefully the Tigers can upset us. I always prefer upsets in a close league than I do just winning all my tips, because I'm just a footy fan first and foremost. And then, you know, make money on betting and tipping. That's just a side project. You know how it is. So it will lead us into the last Saturday game, the late game. The North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Manly Warringah Seagulls. Are they still Manly Warringah, or are they just Manly Seagulls? I'm not quite sure. But Cowboys, they're in 7th place. Seagulls in 9th. This game taking place 7:35 p.m. at Queensland Country Bank Stadium at Townsville. So you can only guess who's the home team here. 7th versus 9th. Very close game here. If we're looking at the odds, Cowboys are favourites at $1.71, Manly at $2.14, so pretty close betting markets here. I will also be backing the Manly Seagulls to get this one done as outsiders. Obviously a lot of people going for the Cowboys. I think I've been more convinced with the Seagulls this year than I have been the Cowboys. Maybe that's just because I expected more of the Cowboys than I did of the Seagulls. But with Tom Trbojevic back, albeit in the centres, I think they can definitely ruffle some feathers here, no pun intended. Daly Cherry-Evans back. I think if the Seagulls are to make the top 8, this is the time to do it. Cowboys have been playing some good footy as of late, getting a few wins that they probably shouldn't have. Playing a lot more consistent than they have in recent years and, you know, even at the start of this season. But I think the Seagulls can get this one done, so I will back them. I know it's in North Queensland, so it's going to be tough to do. I'm, not the most confident in this bet, but I will be taking the Seagulls, and I will be taking them 1-12 or 13+. I might take them... We'll take them 1-12, but every chance they win this one 13+. But yeah, definitely Seagulls. What's the line in this one? If I was to take a team with the line, what are we looking at? Oh, Seagulls with a plus 1.5 line at $2. Yeah, you'd take that every day of the week, but it's a pretty boring line to be taking, to be honest. But yeah, Seagulls backing them in for the late Saturday. Moving us into our Sunday fixtures, starting with the Sydney Roosters taking on the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Roosters in 4th. And the Dragons in 8th place. They've made the top 8 as it stands. This one's at Allianz Stadium, Sydney. So, of course, a Roosters home game. But as we said, both Sydney sort of clubs, you'd expect the masses to come out for this one. Last time these two met was, of course, Anzac Day, and Roosters absolutely trounced the Dragons. Dragons are playing much better, more consistent football as of late. I'd like to see this one be close. I'm still tipping the Roosters, let it be known. I think I'll tip them 1-12. It could very well be 13+. They're just that sort of side that it might not matter who they're up against, how good their opposition's going. They just get it done, and they get it done enthusiastically. They attack so well. They're so fun to watch, the Roosters. But I'm going to back in the Dragons to stand up. They got embarrassed on Anzac Day, and that's something that is going to be really hurting them. I think Shane Flanagan gets a reaction out of them. I think he gets them up for this game. and he gets them competing. I don't see them winning, but if you do see them winning, they're at $4.10 in this game to the Roosters, $1.24. This is, of course, on Sportsbet, and prices are subject to change. So if you do back the Dragons in, it's very good odds there. I'll have a look at the line. So the line for this game at 13.5, it's not bad at all. Gives you, that's not bad. If you wanted to take the Dragons, at least with the line, you're getting some really good value there. Something I might look at. I'll be taking the Roosters 1-12 anyway, so maybe I take the Dragons with a 13 plus line, 13.5 line on that one. But definitely something I'll be having a look at. But yeah, Roosters, I just think they get it done. They've got too much attack across the park. I hope the Dragons get up for it, but there's every chance this Dragons team does get up for it and they're competitive and they still lose 30-12 or something, and it's an 18-point loss because of how this Roosters team attacks. They can score points from literally anywhere on the field. So it's going to be an interesting one. Really looking forward to that game. Good to have I've got the Saturday off. I'll probably be at work for this game, but I'll have to just rewatch it and stay out of the news so I don't get that one spoiled for me. But moves us into the late Sunday game, the last game of round 18. We have the Canberra Raiders taking on the Newcastle Knights, 12th versus 11th on the ladder. This one, of course, in GIO Stadium, Canberra, 4:05 p.m. Once again, I'm going to be taking the Knights. They are currently the favourite. Okay, last time I checked, they were underdogs. They are now favourites at $1.64. Canberra, $2.26 for this one. Not the most confident again. I think Raiders at Canberra is always a hard game, and the Knights, they don't fill me with confidence. I'm not convinced in that side ever, to be honest. I think Ricky needs a reaction out of this Raiders side. They almost got the job done against the Storm. Can they get it done against the Knights? Definitely. The only thing that's keeping me tipping the Knights is the return of Kalen Ponga, to be honest. If it was Fletcher Sharp at fullback, and that's no disrespect to Fletcher Sharp, I'm an absolute lover of Fletcher Sharp, one of my favourite young players coming through. But if it was Kalen Ponga if it was Fletcher Sharp at fullback, I might back the Raiders in their fortress. But I think KP back, the superstar that he is, playing for an Origin jersey potentially, I'm going to back in the Knights to get it done. And, the Knights coming off a really good win against the Eels last week, or the Raiders coming off a few losses, haven't been overly convinced. They've punched well above their weight this season in general, but not really where they want to be. So I back the Knights in 1-12, but definitely a game I'm not convinced in either. There's a lot of games this week, and I think that's just how good this competition is. We're at a point where any team can beat any other team on their day, and that's just really, really good. There's no out-and-out last place this season, in my opinion. There's a lot of teams battling for that. There's no out-and-out first place or top four. It's really, really good where this season's at. So I'm enjoying this. I would like to get all my tips right, but at the same time, I'm good for upset. So if the Titans knock over the Sharkies, that's kind of cool. Titans are my second team. If the Broncos knock over the Panthers, I'd love that because I've tipped the Broncos. If Warriors knock over Bulldogs, I love that. If Tigers knock over Storm, I love that. If Dragons knock over Roosters, I love that. And if Raiders knock over Knights, I don't mind that at all. So lots of different ways that this rounds can go, but I'm really excited for it nonetheless. Have to watch every game as we always do, but try not to get anything spoiled while I'm at work and missing games, and I'll get home and watch those ones. In terms of our bets, now, as you guys know, at the end of our podcast, we go through the bets and tips of our little post on Instagram. So if you guys aren't following us on the Instagram, go and do so. That is at Chip and Chase Podcast. So I've got myself, Leaves, Corn, and Halsey, which we all put up on this post. Go through our tips and our bets of the week. So the bets as follows. We have Locked In, Chasing Value, Bad Day for the Bookies, and then Just Vibe It. Now the odds of those are: Locked In, you're looking from anywhere from $1 to sort of $5 odds. Just a bet that you're pretty sure is, as the name suggests, locked in. You want to make some surefire money out of that. So $1 to $5 odds, nothing too extreme there. Then we have Chasing Value. That's your $5 to $10 odds. Looking for something that the bookies may have scuffed the value on a bit, where you think, yeah, there's some really good value in a play at that. Not too extreme out there. You still want to be trying to make some money. So $5 to $10 odds for the Chasing Value. We then have our Bad Day for the Bookies, which is anything above $10. You can go up to $100 odds if you really wanted to. But yeah, we'll get into that one in a second. And then lastly, we have the Just Vibe It pick, which is something that you've just got a gut feel. It doesn't matter about odds necessarily. It can be low odds, it can be really high odds. It's just something that you've just got a gut feel, and you've got a vibe about it. You back that gut in. Bang, here we are. So we'll go through all of them, starting with myself. This week I had Just Vibe It. So as we just mentioned, just a gut feel bet. I've gone with something pretty extreme, so high odds on this one. Maybe not coming off, but these are just players that I had in the back of my mind. I'm like, I reckon they score tries this week. So I've got Nico Hines, Brandon Smith, and Kai Pearce-Paul as anytime try scorers. There's no, stats behind it. There's no actual research behind this. I just think Nico Hines with a point to prove against the Titans. I think he can score a try there. Brandon Smith, I think he's always a threat from dummy half. We know a few years ago he was one of the top try scorers as a hooker. Up against the Dragons defense, I think he can find some space there and score a nice try. And lastly, Kai Pearce-Paul. Raiders, they've been pretty good defensively, but it's still the Raiders. You never really know. I think Kalen Ponga back in the side can help that attack for the Knights. And also just the fact Kai Pearce-Paul, this 7-foot behemoth, hasn't scored a try yet in the NRL. Look, he's got to score eventually. Maybe it's this week, so that's my last Just Vibe It. The odds of that, as I said, pretty crazy, $58.42. So these aren't us recommending you to bet on these. This is us doing it for a bit of fun and, making a little bit of cash or losing a bit of cash for ourselves. We're betting for fun. If you are following this sort of stuff, just know that we aren't the best people to follow. There's no such thing as a professional gambler. You're always bound to, as they always say, you win some, but you lose more. You're always bound to lose in the end. But you can get a few wins here and there and have a bit of fun. If gambling is no longer fun for you guys, then I advise you to seek help. There is a lot of different places out there and don't be ashamed to do so. But Just Vibe It was for me. Moving us on to Leaves, who has our bad day for the bookies bet. So high odds again on this one. For his bad day for the bookies, he's gone with Murray Taulagi as the Cowboys' first try scorer in that Cowboys-Manly game, and Tom Trbojevic as the Seagulls' first try scorer in that Cowboys-Manly game. So the same game, little multi here, only the two legs. Of course, it doesn't matter which of these players scores first in the game overall, as long as they're the first try scorer for each of their respective clubs. So that's Murray Taulagi for the Cowboys and Tom Trbojevic for the Seagulls. And the odds of that come to $36.25 at the time of recording. The prices, of course, are very much subject to change. Moving us on to our locked in bet. You know what, we'll go across to our chasing value before our locked in. We'll leave the locked in for the end. Chasing value is Halsey this week. He bet on Zach Lomax and Daniel Tupou to score a try, so anytime try scorers for those two, and Dominic Young to score 2+ tries in the Dragons-Roosters clash, bringing us to $9.50 for the odds of that. So just inside that $10 range, which is where we want that chasing value. On the higher end of the spectrum, sure, but hopefully that one can come off and we make a little bit of cash. Halsey, of course, is the only one not to win a bet for our series so far, so he's hoping to get off the nudie run here with that little one there. That's Zach Lomax, Daniel Tupou, anytime try scorers, Dominic Young to score 2+ tries for $9.50 odds. And lastly, our locked in bet of the week, courtesy of Corn. We have Tom Trbojevic, anytime try scorer in the Manly versus Cowboys game at $2.25. Nothing more, nothing less. Just lock in Tom Trbojevic on his return from injury, playing for an Origin jersey, $2.25 in the centres. Smack, bang, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. There we are. Of course, if you guys want to see what the tips for these guys are, that, of course, is up on the Instagram. You can see what all the boys have tips. I've run you through what I've done here, but if you want to see how everybody else is going, head over to the Instagram. Best place to do so. In terms of any other bets for the week, not necessarily ones that I'm putting up in the post. And again, these aren't things I'm advising you on. They're just things that I think that I might have a little bit of a squiz at. There, of course, is in the NRL sort of sports bet markets, there's the freakish fullbacks. So I've gone with the any 5 of the 6 starting fullbacks across the Thursday-Friday games to score a try. So essentially you're looking at any 5 out of 6 of Clint Gutherson, Latrell Mitchell, William Kennedy, Keanu Keeney, Reece Walsh, and Dylan Edwards. You need 5 out of those 6 to score a try and what are the odds of that one? Sorry, missing the odds. Where are the odds of that? Am I tweaking? At $19 for that one. So good little odds on that one if you wanted to give that a go. I'm going to throw $5 on that. Like, well, what's the... Just a bit of fun, Beyond that, if I was looking at try scorers this week, you guys know me, I love a Jesse Ramian try scorer. There's always really good value in Jesse Ramian. He's up against the Titans this week, so I love him as a try scorer. The odds of him, if you were just to back him in, you're looking at $2.65, which I actually think is really good. Kale Ero at the same time, $2.80. But Titans left-hand defense, left hand, right hand for them, left hand if you're attacking them. has been pretty darn good this season, to be honest. So maybe not so much, but we'll see. But you guys know I love that. I really like Alex Johnston to score 2 tries this week. We know he's a noted try scorer against that Leaky Eels. He could even score a hat trick. I might even have a look at Alex Johnston for a hat trick and throw something on that. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is at really good odds at the moment. He's set for a late switch to the wing, but Sportsbet haven't actually noticed that yet. So I think he's in the $3.20 at the moment. $3.20 for Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, anytime try scorer. That for a winger, doesn't matter what club you're up against, is insane value. So I really like Roger this week. I don't mind Chance Nickel Klukstad, just off a vibe sort of pick that he goes hard as well. Beyond that, you can always back anybody who's up against Marcelo Montoya's wing, but if that's going to be Roger's wing, who knows how that one sort of goes. Storm, there's always value there. There's always value in the Tigers against the Storm as well. You know, Storm, they've got a pretty tough little backline at the moment. If you wanted to back in some of these Tigers try scorers, you definitely could do so. If there's no Ryan Pappenhausen and Su'a-Fa'alogo, I don't know who plays fullback, but then you're looking at a backline of Will Warbrick, Grant Anderson, Jack Howarth, Kane Bradley as your, centers and wingers, and then whoever ends up playing fullback. So heaps of value there as well. I might be looking at loading up on some Tigers, maybe even a Adam Doohy to score a nice little try there. But I'll wrap it up there, guys. We've gone for about 25 minutes. That's sort of where I want this podcast to end up being. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, if you guys aren't following the Instagram, go ahead and do so. If there's things that you want to see and hear, let me know on there, and we can try and make that happen for you guys. But that'll do us. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.